Hello everyone. Welcome to today's masterclass on mastering exploratory data analysis in 2023. Myself, I'm Narendra from Alma Better. I'm working as a technical content writer here. It's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker for today's masterclass event, Utkarsh. Utkarsh has 9 years of working experience in analytics and data science domain. Utkarsh is currently leading network evaluation at Target through digital fulfillment strategy as a lead operations research scientist. He is energized by the ambiguity of the business and loves bringing clarity using data science and analytics. So he will go through the event. So I hope all of you enjoy this masterclass event. If you have any doubts, you can mention them in the chat box. Utkarsh will solve all your doubts. Over to you, Utkarsh.
Thanks, Narendra. Hi, team. I would just present my screen to go through a short presentation, and then we'll deep dive into hands-on sessions. So let me just quickly play around with the screens which I have, because I want to see the questions which are there in the chat window, and also be able to manage the presentation. So just give me a moment. Yeah. Is the presentation up?
Yes, Utkarsh. Yeah.
Thanks. I'll just be in this view, which gives me flexibility to move around. Chat window needs to go here. I think, yeah, I'm set. So, yeah, as Narendra introduced, I am currently leading Target's fulfillment strategy to shape the network topology which we have currently in United States. In today's session, I would introduce you to the concept of exploratory data analysis. Given the wide range of audience, I'll deep dive into what this skill is all about, why the skill is essential in data science and analytics domains. Then I will dive deeper into some of the tools which are there in the industry, and why a specific tool is relevant for a particular use case versus the other one. Then we will deep dive into some hands-on session through Databricks Notebook. Databricks is a platform which provides cloud storage and compute. So you need not have your own cluster of systems, and you need not put all your infrastructure on yourself. You could just use the Databricks community edition and play around that. So we will also go through how to set up a Databricks account, a community edition account, and then we will create some notebooks there to play with the data. So first thing first, why do I have to learn this skill, exploratory data analysis? If you go to any job portal, say LinkedIn or Indeed, and search some of these keywords like data analyst, data science, or analytics, right? You have a wide range of jobs, somewhere around 20,000 to 40,000, all the way up to that, right? However, these roles are not just related to data scientist. Many people have this view about the data scientist job is cool, but there are various roles which are similar to data scientist. You have data analyst, business analyst, applied scientist or applied data scientist, analytic consultants, product analyst, operations research. There are many roles which are diverse and are similar in nature. And in all of these roles, exploratory data analysis is a critical step, because in any of these roles, in order to deliver any insight or to have meaningful conversation with your stakeholders, you must understand your data really well. And this data sometimes could be huge. It need not be handled through Excels or simple tools like Pandas and things like that, right? So this particular skill is also known as data exploration or data discovery. So all of these are similar concepts. If you're looking for just exploratory data analysis in some of these job portals, you might not find the same words. You have to search different words. For instance, data profiling, data assessment, data scrutiny. So if you find any of these concepts in any of the roles, it only talks about exploratory data analysis. These are all synonymous concepts, synonymous terms. Now, why do we have to focus on this skill, and specifically when the data is growing in a very exponential manner? A study shows that data has grown from 2022 levels to 2025 projected levels, as it's going to double. So if you see here, 2022 levels, we had somewhere around 97 zettabytes. 97 zettabytes. 1 zettabyte is approximately 1 billion terabyte. That's huge. And that's going to double. It's going to become 181 zettabytes by 2025. So there is a need of, there's a need for every data analyst or a data scientist or all of these roles, right, to adapt to tools and techniques which are scalable, which can run on huge data sets, because the data is ever growing, and that's what the study suggests. Now I'll deep dive into some of the data points which Target is dealing with. Some of the examples where Target is actually working on these huge data sets. So just to give you overview, we had 107 billion of sales in 2022. This is all annual report, public information. So I'm not disclosing any internal details. It's all public. So we handle business in various verticals. When I say verticals, these are the categories in which you shop. Beauty and household essentials. This accounts to 28% of our sales. Food and beverages. This accounts to 21% of our sales. Food and beverage is a category which is very, how should I say, it is perishable. The life cycle of F&B is very short. The shelf life is not, in terms of, say, for apparels, it's over 3 months, 6 months. Even some of the apparels go for 1 year. So you can keep these apparels in shelf for 1 entire year, right? However, food and beverage shelf life is hardly a week, not more than that, right? Home and furnishing, which accounts to 18% of the sales. So you see these level of details and this level of granularity in the back end holds billions of records, millions and billions of transactions. And if you have to, if you're working in a forecasting team, you have to deal with sales records starting from the last 5 years, in certain cases, last 10 years. And then you have to project the forecast for the next, say, 13 weeks. There are different cycles. You have to project the forecast for 13 weeks, or say the next year, or if you're doing a long range planning, then even for next 3 years, next 5 years, and so on. So the data with which you have to deal with is huge. We have overall 1,950 stores and total 55 supply chain facilities. So imagine the amount of inventory Target is carrying in its network. And if you have to work on, say, forecasting algorithm, or say network planning, the work which I do in my team, right? The scale with which we are working with is these 1950 cross the number of pyramids which you're seeing above, beauty and household essentials, F&B, home furnishing, hardlines, and so on, cross the number of zip codes with which we interact, the number of guests with which we interact, right? So you can understand the scale of data with which we day to day we work with, right? So with this understanding that the data is growing and there is a need to handle this data with a technique which is scalable, which is fast, and which is reliable, we need to understand some tools and some libraries, right? So there is a library called as Pandas. Now, for those who are very new to this field of computer science and say data science, right? Pandas is a library which works with smaller tabular data sets. You can do analytics using this library on CSV files, Excel files. You can also connect to certain data sources. You can connect to Postgres. You can connect to certain transactional data sources, right? And then this Pandas will help you give a lot of flexibility in terms of features. You need not write huge lines of codes to do some analysis, right? Just one line and then your analysis is done. You just say dot describe and then it describes a lot of features of the data. However, Pandas is limited to the scale of data which we have. Spark, on the other hand, supports large data sets because this works in a distributed computing environment. Now, let me try to elaborate what this means. Imagine you are working on a single system, which is your own machine. What does it have? Say 16 GB of RAM, and then 1 terabyte of hard disk, and so on. Maybe you have a better machine. But it can handle limited data sets. It can handle the CSV files which reside on your system, right? Just imagine if you have to work on a compute environment which is of the scale of billions and probably petabytes and zettabytes of transactions, right? In those cases, Spark comes handy because it is now running on a cloud infrastructure with similar commodity machines that you have, but a network of maybe 1,000 nodes, 1,000 machines, or maybe in certain cases, if your infrastructure, or say your company is a small scale company, maybe a cluster of 100 machines. So let's try to understand what's the difference in terms of timing between Pandas and PiSpark. Pandas, if you see, if you have somewhere around 7 million records, this is a particular data set, which we'll also go through in our hands-on session. This is a New York trips data. It's a standard data set which you can find online. If you're dealing with 7 million records, you can see here the brown color is PiSpark and the blue color is Pandas. Pandas take very less time. It's very fast. However, PiSpark, it's working on a distributed environment. The data gets distributed on various nodes. It is taking approximately 5 seconds. Now, as the scale of the data increases, as you see, you are dealing with 14 million records. Pandas takes more than 35 seconds. However, PiSpark is just taking 2 to 3 seconds. Now, as the data further increases, it's beyond 101 some million transactions, right? Pandas starts to fail. Pandas cannot handle that amount of data. However, PiSpark continues to perform at the same level as it was performing with 14 million records. Just because of the fact that the data is distributed over a cluster of nodes. So we will also understand how to work with PiSpark in details. We will not deep dive into Pandas. We will just try to understand Spark part of it. Any questions up till now? I just want to check with the team here. If there are no questions, I'll proceed further. So in short, what is this PiSpark? For those who are not familiar with this terminology or Spark and things like that, it is nothing but an API. Programming language Python. Python supports Spark, and the combination of these two things is PiSpark. So Spark was fundamentally developed by Apache. Then this was combined with various programming languages such as Scala, Python. So you can work with Scala, you can work with Python. The version of Spark with Python is called as PiSpark. The version of Spark with Scala is a simple Scala. However, in internals, the Spark works on JVM, which is a Java virtual machine. All of your code internally gets handled through Java code. However, Java is very complicated. Python is very simple. So for any folks who are new to this world, right? Python is a very simple language, and anyone can get onboarded into it very fast. So fundamentally, what are the key features of this Spark, or say PiSpark? It is simple, it is fast, it is scalable, and it is unified. The fundamental applications of PiSpark are batch streaming. So you have huge data sources, transactional data sources. Not all of the data resides in one system. The data could reside in various systems, multiple systems. So you would need capabilities like streaming. You would need capabilities where the data flows into one system, your one infrastructure, right? So that is one of the feature of Spark. It supports streaming jobs. It supports batch jobs. Then you can do a lot of analytics. You can do data science at scale. You can do the exploratory data analysis to understand your data and bring out the insights. Then you can also run certain fundamental machine learning algorithms, regression, clustering, k-means, and so on, right? Now we'll go to the Databricks Notebook. I'll just give the team time to scan this QR code and open the notebook so that we can continue the session on hands-on. Any questions here? I hope all is fine, and then we can continue from here. So if everyone has kind of scanned this notebook and have this notebook open, I will walk you through how to register on Databricks as a community edition. So you've got to just search sign up for Databricks Community Edition. Okay, yeah, let me put the link directly. Just a moment. So this is the direct link for Databricks. However, when you search over the Google, sign up for Databricks Community Edition, go for the second link, which is sign up for Databricks Community Edition. It will land you to this particular page. It has all of the instructions of how do you create your account and so on. However, you have got to click on this try Databricks here. As you click on this link, this kind of page will appear where you have to create your account. So you have to put your name, your company title. If you do not belong to any company, you can simply write student. In title, you can simply write student and click the button continue. Once you click the button continue, it will go to a different page and it will show something like this. Do not select any cloud provider. We are not going to select any cloud provider. However, there is a link called as Get Started with Community Edition. You have to click on this link, Get Started with Community Edition. As you click this link, you will see this page where the interface asks you to go to your email and verify the link. So this sends an email to your account, and then the email would look something like this, where you just have to verify your email address by clicking this link over here. So once you click this link, you will be redirected to a page where you can create notebooks, where you can get your hands dirty. Is everyone able to follow? Are there any questions? Medically, after actually 88% So I hope folks are able to follow. And if there are any doubts, just keep on putting in the chat. I'll try to answer them. So yeah, once you have verified and you are inside the Databricks environment, the interface would look something like this. Here you can click on this plus icon, which says create, and then you can create a new notebook. Notebook is nothing where you write your scripts and do some bit of analytics. So once you open a notebook, I have a lot of details over here, which I'll be walking you through. However, it's going to be a blank notebook with just one cell. So what you have got to do is there's going to be a requirement of creating a cluster. So in my instance, I have already created a cluster, which has some 16. Yeah. Yes, Sunil, go ahead. Okay, yeah, I'll share the notebook link as well. Yeah. If that doesn't work, I think that's a logged in interface link. You can try for the second link over here. Yeah. So in my case, I have this cluster which is up and running. It's a DBR instance, version 12.2. It has Spark 3.3.2, which is not the latest one, but it's the latest stable version. It supports Scala 2.1.2, and then it has a RAM of somewhere around 16 GB. This is just a community edition, so you wouldn't have flexibility to create a cluster of huge number of nodes. However, when it comes to real-time applications, you can create a cluster of 100 nodes or even 1,000 nodes and configure your RAMs and so on, right? But all of that becomes chargeable. But this community edition is totally free to use. You can play around with the data, you can play around with the concepts, you can play around with the syntax of Spark and so on. So yeah, if the cluster is not created for you, you can click on this button, create new resource. When you click on this create new resource, you can give a name, whatever name you want to give, and then click on this button, create attach and run. So when you will say this, it will take some time to keep the cluster up and running. Just wait for some time while the cluster is getting up and run. These are all virtual machines, so they take some time to get created, right? So yeah, in my case, I have this cluster up and running already, so I need not map it to a new cluster. Now, in this notebook, I will walk you through certain sample data sets which Databricks offers. You need not create your own data sets. However, it gives you total flexibility to upload CSV files, to create your own data sets, and then play with that. So it's all flexible. However, we will just work with the sample data sets. We will see how do you create your own table using a data source which is of the type CSV, a standard comma separated value file, or an Excel file. Then we will see data attributes exploration, what each attribute means and so on. Then we might go to certain nuances of window functions. This might get a little complicated, but then I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. For those who are newcomers, for those who are new to data science and all of these terminologies, I'll keep it as simple as possible. However, feel free to use this notebook and then explore as much as you can. Then we will go through grouping of attributes, grouping by attributes to create summaries. And then we'll also see visualization. This Databricks notebook also offers a range of visualization tools. So you don't have to import libraries like Seaborn and then plot graphs, matplotlib, and so on, right? All of those libraries to plot graphs. That is not required. This interface offers some standard tools to play with the visualization. Now, there is a link to Databricks datasets in the very beginning. You can see how many datasets are there, which are offered by Databricks in details. You can also list the datasets which are there on Databricks. You can see here, I had ran this earlier. So it had some airlines data sets and so on. The command is just running, just give it a moment. Yeah. So here, very few records are displayed. However, you can download this data. So there is this button, download all rows. Once you download all of this data, it exports a CSV file. You can see that there are various data sets: flower photos, flowers, genomics, MNIST digits. Then there are some online retail data sets. There is a data set about New York taxi trips, right? So you can play with a lot of these data sets to explore various techniques which we are going to discuss today. Now, all of these data sets reside in a file system, which is a Databricks distributed file system. So these are actual physical files. These files have the data. However, you can create tables out of that data, out of that physical data. So I'm going to discuss about a sample table, which is already there under a catalog called as samples. So there is a hierarchy which you need to understand in Databricks. The first one is the catalog name. Catalog is the uppermost category of the data storage, right? So samples is one of the catalog in which you have a schema. So a schema could have multiple tables. So here the schema name is NYC taxi. Now this schema can have multiple tables. One of the tables is trips. And what I have done here is I'm selecting star from this table, limiting the rows to 10. So you can see here, you have a pickup date time, you have a drop off date time, you have trip distance, there is a fare amount, pickup zip code, and drop off zip code. This is a standard trips table. We will see how to list all the schemas in a sample catalog. So if you run this cell, this shows you all of the databases or all of the schemas. It's a synonymous term. When I say database, it also refers to schemas. So we have these three schemas within samples catalog. One is NYC taxi, other is TPCH, and the first one is default. Now, if you want to show tables in one of the schema, so you can show tables through this command, show tables in the catalog name dot the schema name. So within TPCH, you can see here we have some 8 tables over here: customer, line item, nation, orders, part, and so on, right? So n number of tables are there. Now, what if you want to explore the data sets which were highlighted over here in the CSV file? How can you create table out of these data sets? So I'm going to walk you through one of those data sets. So one of those data sets is this online retail. Within online retail, there was a directory data-001. So this has a CSV file which has some data about a typical online retail store, which has transactions in terms of invoices. Okay. So we will go through this data set in detail. Now, the next step is you have CSV file over here. You can see the CSV file location is in a DBFS path, which is a Databricks file system path. So this is a physical storage where you have the CSV file. Now you want to be able to play with the data. You want to be able to query this data, right? So in that case, we need to follow the syntax to create a table using a CSV location. So you see here, I have passed the same location which was mentioned over here as an argument to location. So as you pass this location as an argument to the syntax of create table, what it will do is it will create a table with this. So let me run this. Meanwhile, if there are any questions, feel free to put them on the chat. Yeah. So the table is now created. Now let's try to see how the table looks like. So the syntax is very simple. Select star from the table name. Now you can notice here the table which I created was online underscore retail. And I created this table in a default schema. So if the schema is default, you need not put that in front of the table name. It is automatically considered that if you are selecting anything from a table, then you are referring to a default schema. So if you run this, this will show all of the details of that table. Just click on this button, show results, and you can see there are various columns in which you have data. But you can see here, there is a small problem. You see the column names are not inferred. The column names are not what they were in the Excel file or the CSV file. So what the Spark or this interface, this create table syntax did was it created some arbitrary columns, C0, C1, C2, and so on, right? And you can see the actual names of the columns are in one of the rows: invoice number, stock code, description, quantity, invoice date, and so on, right? Those are the actual column names, and those are not the data rows, right? So what did we miss? We missed to provide the information of inferring schema to the create table syntax. So what we can do is now we can actually recreate this table with the infer schema statement. So what I will do is, yeah, but prior to going to that, let me first show you how to create a PiSpark data frame. So what you're seeing over here is when you wrote this spark.sql, and then you provided select star from the table name, and then you displayed 100 records. It displayed data for the 100 rows, right? Now you can create a data frame. Data frame, treat it like a variable. It's a variable which contains the location to that data. It does not contain the data. It does not contain the data. Remember, PiSpark, whenever you're creating a data frame, does not contain the data. It is just a reference to the data. So this variable called as mydf is just pointing to the location of the data and not the data itself. However, whenever you do any operation on the data frame or the variable mydf, in that instant, the Spark starts to run, and then the data will be brought into the memory and will be distributed across the cluster, and then you will see whatever action you have performed, right? So in this instance, when I run mydf equal to spark.sql, it is just creating a variable. Yeah, go ahead if there's a question. I saw someone was raising hand. Is there a question? Narendra, do we have the question?
No, Utkarsh. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I'll continue. So yeah, once you've created the data frame, and now I am running the first operation, say count. I want to see how many records are there. So in this data frame, the Spark is now running the job. In this data frame, there are just 65,000 records. Now remember, these are all sample data sets. These are not huge data sets. When you are dealing with the realistic examples, those are going to be huge. The amount of data I deal with is per day, I deal with millions of transactions. So the data does not look this small. However, just for the purpose of this exercise, and we want all of these operations to be faster, we are just dealing with smaller data sets. So this took somewhere around 3.86 seconds, you see. However, if I'm working on a Spark infrastructure, which has thousands of nodes, and the data is millions of rows, then also it takes a couple of seconds. It just takes 3 to 4 seconds. So that's the power of Spark. Now, if you want to see what all columns were there, you can use the syntax called as print schema. As you run this, you can see all of the column names, which were placeholder names, were assigned C0, C1, C2, and so on. These are not the real column names. As I told earlier, the real column names are invoice number, stock code, description, quantity, and so on, right? Now we want to create a table which has those column names and not C0, C1, C2, C3, right? Because you cannot understand what C0 means, C1 means, and so on, right? So there is a small argument which you need to add, which is header true and infer schema true. So what I'm doing here is I'm dropping the earlier created table and I'm recreating the table with infer schema as true. So now when I run this, the new table will be created with the updated column names. So now I'm going to recreate a data frame, and you can see here I've done a print schema. In print schema, you can see I have column names, invoice numbers, stock code, description, quantity, and so on, right? So you have all of the columns. And then I did an operation of count. Now you see here, it is taking just 1.34 seconds. The reason behind that is when your data gets distributed on the nodes, it gets cached to a certain extent. That is why it took just 1.3 seconds to showcase the count of the tables. Now, how to show the records? You just have to say the data frame name dot show and then say top 100 records. So you can see here we have invoices invoice numbers, stock code refers to, say, a particular item ID, or it's just a representation of an item. And you can see in the description, that is the description of the item. Then you have quantity of the number of units which were ordered for that item in that invoice. Then there is invoice date, there is unit price, there is a customer ID, and there is a country, right? Now what we have to do is we have to explore this data, right? We have to bring out some insights. Before doing that, you can also show the data in vertical format. Here, the number of columns are just what, some 8 or 9 columns, right? So this particular view of show works really good. But if you have number of columns, which in reality are 100 columns, 150 columns, and so on, right? So in those cases, you won't be able to see all of the columns next to each other in a horizontal manner, right? So in that case, you can use this argument called as vertical equal to true. If you run this, then you can see each record is shown one by one. The first record, which has the invoice number and all of the details, right? So if you have more than 20 columns, more than the number of columns which the page can accommodate, in that case, use this vertical equal to true. Now let's try to understand one of the attribute, and that attribute I have chosen as unit price. You feel free to explore whatever column you want to explore. But for this particular instance, I'm exploring unit price, and I want to see what is the extent of unit price. How much is it varying? So to calculate all of those, I just need to write describe. That's it. So once you write this data frame name dot select, what do you want to select? You just want to select unit price, not the other columns, just the unit price. So here you can put in whatever number of columns you want to analyze. You can put all of those columns and then say describe. In this case, unit price has a minimum value of 0. How is that possible? How can an order have an item with 0 quantity? Is that possible? Is that really possible? Maximum quantity 16,888. Can someone be so much crazy that he is ordering so many? This is just the unit price. My bad. This is not quantity. I was referring to quantity. Unit price, yeah, again, 0 unit price is again an outlier. 0 unit price is not possible. A commodity must have some price. If it is a pen, it's going to be 5 rupees or 10 rupees or X number of dollars, right? It's not going to be 0. Maximum unit price of, say, 16,888. It could be possible that this is true, but let's not come to conclusion that this is true. Mean value here is 5.85. Let me, just for the sake of simplicity, let me assume that all of these prices are in dollars. So 5.85 is the mean value, and the standard deviation is 145. It means there is a lot of deviation in the unit prices. Now, if you want to understand this data visually, you can display your data frame, and by default, you will see this table. So this table has a lot of data values. However, next to this table, you have this button called as visualization. Click on this button of visualization, and then you will be able to see some graph. But if you have not created any visualization, click on this plus sign and then click on this visualization. Okay. Now here you have various visualization types. You can create a bar graph, you can create a line graph, or a pie chart, a histogram, heat map, a scatter plot, or a bubble plot, right? So in this instance, I have created a bubble chart. So this bubble chart is on unit price X-axis represents the unit price, and Y-axis represents the quantity, number of units which were ordered. I'll just repeat. X-axis represents the price of the item, and Y-axis represents the quantity of the items ordered. Here you can see the price is ranging all the way from $0 to $165, right? However, you saw earlier the maximum price was 16,888. So this graph could not actually showcase that value because of the intervals it has, right? So you can see that those are rare instances. We do not have really that expensive items in our data sets, right? Now, why are we analyzing this data through visual representation? We want to understand what is the range of data. You can understand that range through minimum value, maximum value, mean, and standard deviation, but it does not give you the overall clarity. However, this visual representation gives you the clarity in terms of what is the range where your data is. So here the range is specifically this small area. This is our range, right? So you can select this range and then analyze data in much more detail, only that particular data. You're not interested in outliers, right? Now, you saw that the mean was somewhere around $5.85, right? So somewhere around this is the mean. However, mean is not always the true representation of data. When I say mean, this is arithmetic mean, also called as average. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes mean is not the true variable with which you can understand the distribution of data. Sometimes you have to see various quantiles. These quantiles are nothing but percentiles. So there is a function which Spark supports. So you have to import this function, which is called as percentile approx. So you have to first import PiSpark.sql.functions as f. So f is again a variable now, which you can use in your script again and again. Once you have imported this, you need not import this again and again. You just need to import this once. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing a percentile approx on unit price with various percentiles. So what you see here in this list are the various percentiles: 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile, and then 90th percentile, right? So what this tells us is the overall distribution of the data, which makes more sense. So the 90th percentile of the data says that we have the unit price as $7.95, somewhere around $8, right? So that is a true representation of how much cost price are we selling the commodity for. 90th percentile is the true representation. 50th percentile, however, if you see here, is 2.51, which is not same as the mean which you saw, because mean here has the bias in the data. Mean has the bias of the maximum value, 16,888. If you add several numbers and one of the numbers is really high, then the average becomes really high. But is that high number the true number? Is it a true transaction, or is it a garbage transaction? Is it a failure transaction? Is it an outlier, right? So to understand that, the percentile view helps you. 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile, and 90th percentile. This is the true scale of data. Okay. Now let's, there is a hand I can see, SG. If there is a question, can you write it in the chat box? I don't see any question up till this stage. Can you type in the question in the chat box? Yeah, I'll continue. I don't see the question up still. Okay. So I'm trying to bring out some insights from the data here. From this data set, I want to understand and ask this question to myself: how many single line invoices are there? When I say single line, means it has only one item in it, one stock code in it. And how many invoices are there which are multi-line, which have multiple, more than one stock codes in it, right? So in that case, again, this particular syntax here might look little complicated for folks who are new, but you will get to it. What I'm using is a concept called as window. So just to understand this in brief, imagine this window is nothing but a small segment in your data. So if you have, say, 65,000 records, right? Window could be one order. So one order, if it has 10 lines, 10 records, that's going to be one window, right? So each window is going to be one order or one invoice. When I use order or invoice, these are all interchangeable terms. When I say item or stock code, these are also interchangeable terms. So window will help us create any variable which is at a granularity of that window, right? So what I want to do here with window is I want to be able to count the number of lines in each window. So in short, in simple English, I want to count the number of items in each order. I want to count the number of stock codes in each invoice. So that is what you see here. I'm creating a new attribute. I'm creating a new column called as num lines. And to that num lines, what I want to do is I want to first collect, I want to create a collect set of stock codes over this window, which is partitioned by invoice number. So this window is going to be created on the invoice number. And then I'm just creating a collect set. So set removes duplicates. If there are duplicates, set removes those duplicates and will create a set of the stock codes in each invoice. Now, what I want to do is just size them. Size will just count them. Size will just count the list. Size will just count the set, right? So here, number of lines will now have, for each window, it will have the number of stock codes which were there in the invoice. Okay. Now, my goal was to be able to count single line and multi-line. So I'm creating a new column called as invoice lines type. What is the type of this invoice? If the number of lines is 1, then it becomes a single line invoice. SL stands for single line. If it has more than that, then you can just say otherwise and just specify ML. If you have multiple conditions, if your goal was to create single line, 2 lines, 3 lines, and so on, then you could repeat this dot when statement those many number of times to create those many values, right? Now, what I'm doing essentially here is I'm grouping by the invoice lines type attribute, and I'm just counting the number of invoices. And then I'm also summing up the quantity which was ordered, right? So here you can see the outcome of the statement is we have 697 invoices, which are single line invoices, which has a negative quantity. Is that really possible? Do we have negative quantity? We have multi-line 2,191 invoices, which have somewhere around 549,000 quantity. So does this data look right to you? So these are the questions you ask when you are doing data exploration, when you are doing the data exploratory analysis, right? Something looks off here, right? Now to understand that, we can now play with different filters. For example, let me see how does the data look like when I put this filter of quantity less than 0, when I put this filter of quantity less than 0, I see that there are transactions for which the customer ID is null. So these are all the garbage records. Something would have happened, maybe in the streaming job, or maybe the way the records were captured, or the transaction systems would have failed. There could be a number of reasons for the data to be garbage, right? But here you can see that the data is not valid. There could be instances where quantity is less than 0 if it is a return order. So just imagine if you have to showcase to your leadership what is the gross sales which you did. Gross sales. Gross sales refers to all of the transactions, irrespective of returns. So there could be a positive quantity which you sold. There could be a negative quantity which got returned back from the guests or customers to your store, right? So there could be negative quantities. I'm not saying negative quantities are bad variables or is a garbage data. I'm saying it totally depends on the use case or the goal which you are trying to answer, right? So if you are trying to answer gross sales, then negative quantities matter. If you are trying to answer net sales, then you filter out the negative quantities. You just showcase the positive quantities. That becomes your net sales, right? Now, in this particular case, in this particular example, you see that we have customer ID as null. It means these transactions are fishy transactions, right? So now what I did was, I want to now understand how many such transactions are there, how many such invoices are there with null customer ID. So I'm putting a filter on customer ID is null, and I'm selecting count distinct invoice number, and I'm summing up the quantity. So you can see here, there are 444 such invoices which have customer ID as null. And this corresponds to some 67,000 quantity. So it's not necessary that if a customer ID is null, then the quantity is negative, right? The quantity could be positive and still the customer ID could be null, right? So it is totally, you have to see the data from various lenses. You have to see various attributes and understand the range of data, understand what it truly means in order to do any exploratory data analysis, right? Now, if I have to do the same exercise of understanding single line orders, understanding multi-line orders, what I've done is I've put a filter on customer ID is not null and quantity is greater than equal to 0. This condition is subject to what you are trying to achieve. Here I have established the fact that null customer ID transactions are not required transactions. Those are garbage transactions. I have established the fact that if a quantity is negative, it is of no means to me. It is of no it's not serving the purpose, right? So I'm putting this filter and I'm rerunning the code which I had just discussed above. Now you can see here, single line invoices are 181, and this corresponds to 92,000 units, 92,000 quantity. Multi-line orders are 1,820, and it corresponds to some 480,000 quantity, right? Now, this is meaningful. Now, if you go to your leadership and show them, these are the number of single line orders, these are the number of multi-line orders, they'll be happy. If you go to them with this kind of data, they'll be like, this is garbage, this is a shitty data, right? So you need to understand your data and then put the right number of filters. You need to explore your data first and then bring out the insights. If you simply go with the insights on the data blankly, you'll be, I'll just pardon the word. So yeah, going further, and I had created this visualization of a heat map on country and quantities. So on x-axis, you see I have quantities. And on the y-axis, I have countries listed. So this data of heat map is showing you that United Kingdom is one such country which is consistently selling, which is selling a lot of volume, different order types of different quantities, right? This is just one of the representation. However, you see here, there are some negative values, right? So this data frame was the original data frame on which I've not put any filter. However, if I put filter on customer ID is not null and a filter on quantity greater than equal to 0, it would look something like this, where still United Kingdom is taking the upper hand on a lot of other countries, but the data is filtered and it serves a purpose. It serves a goal. So feel free to play with various visualizations. You can click on this button plus, go to visualization and create multiple views. I think I'm done here. I'll just take questions from now onwards.
Utkarsh, questions are in Q&A.
Okay, so do we want to move back to the presentation or do we want to deep dive into some of these syntaxes? How many folks are very new to Python and Spark? Okay, I see one of the hand, two hands, three hands, four hands. Okay, it's coming up. All right. So out of some 32 attendees, we have 6 newcomers. I would suggest you can go to the Databricks PiSpark tutorial. So there are certain syntaxes which you can explore. Just give me a moment. Let me refer to the PiSpark original tutorial. PiSpark documentation. Yeah, so this is the standard Apache documentation where you have syntax of PiSpark. Yeah, this one over here. Let me put this in the chat. So this you can use to understand various functions which were discussed in this session, like window, row, column, data frame, catalog, and so on. You don't see the link yet. Let me share it again. So yeah, this is a good link to explore what are the various syntax for Spark, how to create a sample data frame, how to do basic operations, right? How to group data, how to create windows, and so on. You could just use the syntax and play with the notebook. So I'll just take probably couple of examples. So let's take this NYC taxi trips. Let's play with this data set. I'll just add couple of cells over here below so that I showcase some of these syntaxes. So let's create a data frame on NYC taxi. my taxi df, right? Let me not limit it by any rows. I'm creating a data frame here. And let's say I want to see how many trips are there. So I can say mydf.count, right? This is going to show you how many trips were there in NYC taxi database, NYC taxi trips table. So there are 21,000 transactions, 21,000 trips, right? Now, if you want to understand, say, we have to always ask questions before exploring the data, right? So one of the question here could be, how many origin destination zip pairs are there? So you see here in the data, you have pickup zip, you have drop off zip, right? So say I have this question that how many origin and destination zip pairs are there. So to do that, I just need to use this variable, my taxi df dot select. Now what I have to do is I have to just use this column and the second column, drop off zip. And then I want to see the distinct pairs of it, right? Distinct dot count. So this will show the unique pickup and drop combinations, origin and destination zip pair combinations. So you see here we have 3,369 such combinations. You can individually see how many pickup zips are there. And then you can individually see how many drop-off zips are there. Yeah, so this supports just one last command. So I just need to put this print statement everywhere so that all of the print statements are displayed. Yeah, so you can see here, we have combinations as 3,369. We have unique pickup zips as 128. And then we have drop-off zips as 205. Right? The product of these two is much more than 3,369. It means we don't have trips between all of the zips. I see hands raised. Are there any specific questions? Is team able to, or are attendees able to write questions on the chat window? Narendra, is anyone having difficulty over there?
Some of the questions are in Q&A.
Okay, okay. So I'll have to change the interface. Just give me a moment. Okay, I'm going over there. Okay. Yeah, I have changed the interface. Now I can see the questions. My bad. You mentioned that Spark is an API. What is an API? Okay. So API refers to application programming interface. It's an interface to certain functionalities. Now imagine you have to handle all of this data on n number of machines, right? You don't have to sit and write the code to distribute the data and then perform those actions and so on, right? So Spark has already done that work. Spark has already written a lot of codes to distribute the data, to map the data, and then reduce the data, and so on. All of that is already written in certain programming languages, right? Now, what you want to do is just essentially use them, right, in a very simple manner, right? So what I'm currently doing here is I'm just using the spark.sql function. I'm just calling this API through a function, right? Uh, and using its feature. So I'm not writing the code behind it. The code behind it could be much complex. And this functionality is very simple to use, right? So APIs are basically the endpoints where the end users don't have to write huge lines of code. They just have to call the code which is written in behind the scenes, right? So API just refers to application programming interface, where your application is a fundamental high-level application, and the code behind it is a low-level complex application. I hope that answers the question. Next question is, what are the benefits of data science? So data science is a field where you are trying to uncover the mysteries of business through data. You cannot work and have businesses like retail or say Airbnb, right? Or all of these high level businesses. They do not work with a simple website with where you just go and then do certain transactions and get your work done, right? If you want to evolve your business, if you want to grow your business, you want to understand what is happening behind the scenes. You want to be able to take smart decisions. You want to be able to create plans for future. The business doesn't run in this moment. Business has to be run for future. So data science uncovers the mysteries of data and helps businesses grow. Businesses could be any verticals. It could be a pharmaceutical industry, it could be a retail industry, it could be a manufacturing industry. Everywhere you have data, and everywhere you have to make decisions. And in order to make decisions, you need to understand data. You need to understand the granularity of data, right? So data science has huge number of benefits in all the verticals and all of the fields. Okay, next question. I have a SQL database 500 GB with 10 tables, nearly around 5 crore rows of data with text type, and need to search on those text fields. We regularly download huge amount of data daily and insert into tables. So when we download and prior to insertion, do we validate to find out of the data? This is a very huge question. Maybe I'll take it offline if you're okay with it. However, I'll just try to attempt it. Not in every case, the Spark tables or Hive tables are good to use, right? If you have huge amount of text data, I think you should be using NoSQL kind of databases, MongoDB and things like that, right? Cassandra and whatnot. So those are unstructured. So unstructured databases where the columns are not structured as you're seeing in the example, right? Spark supports some of the NoSQL databases to a certain extent, but I have not explored a lot of them, to be frank about that. Next question. Is it easy to join data science non-IT background, use any tools? Could you elaborate on this question? There are various tools for non-IT background folks. For example, you can install Anaconda, and within Anaconda, there is a tool called as Orange. Orange is relatively a easy tool where you can import CSV files, even connect to various databases, and then do analytics on top of it. A little bit of machine learning also you can do. You need not write codes. Non-IT background people can also work with that tool. The tool's name, I'll repeat, it's called as Orange. There are other NoSQL or no code kind of tools which you can explore for that purpose. Next question. Given the current growth rate of AI, how can one prepare to get into data science field? It is by learning the right techniques, by learning the right skills. No one is going to. So if you go for any interview, which is of data science, right? The very first round which you have to go through is a coding round or a hacker rank kind of round, right? Where you're supposed to build logic on a given data set, right? So you have to prepare for such rounds. And the way to get prepared for such rounds is getting your hands dirty with the data. And Databricks is offering you sample data sets. You can learn to query various tables. You can use some of these techniques to explore data, see them visually, and so on, right? I have not touched upon some complex operations like creating joins. You can create joins between multiple tables. So I think you should also learn about how to create joins between tables. All of these steps will help you prepare to get into the field of data science. Okay, I think that's all. I see only these questions. Are there further questions? Shantanu, I don't see. Okay, answered. All right. Yeah, your question is a huge question. I tried to answer it in short, maybe not too relevant, but can we take it offline? Mail me the question. It's Utkarsh C. Gupta @gmail.com. I'll try to answer it over there. Okay. How does EDA is connected to data science? Is it part of data science or is it a different job? Okay, so fundamentally, exploratory data analysis is part of a lot of data science related jobs. Data analyst, business analyst, applied data scientist, and so on. This is a critical step. This is one of the skill, and this is not everything. EDA is not everything. It is one of the foundational element in data science. You must know how your data is, what your data is, what does it mean, right? So for all of that, exploratory data analysis helps you understand your business, right? Helps you understand your domain. But if you have to take decisions, if you have to say provide any insights, you might have to run some complex algorithms, say k-means clustering, or say you have to do forecasting, right? So once you've understood your data, you will be able to create inputs in a right fashion for a forecasting exercise, so that you are able to forecast, say, sales for your company for the next year. Once you understand your data, then only you will be able to forecast it, right? So EDA is a step in data science. It is part of the data science, absolutely. It's not a different job profile. It gets covered in all of these job profiles to every extent. I am a mechanical engineering graduate, passed out in 2017. I want transition. Can I join this course? Okay. So I think that question, Narendra, or the team could answer. Anything else? If one has the right skill set, does the year gap matter? No, not at all. Year gap is just a gap which is there in our heads. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is building on the right level of skills, right? No one cares about how many years of experience do you have, or do you have a gap or not. All of that doesn't matter. If you have skills, you're good. Even if you have just 1 year of experience or no experience at all, or you have gaps, right? It doesn't actually matter. You should be just able to prove yourself in the round of interviews. That's it. How to develop a mindset to do EDA, because we do have to think and ask questions that nobody sees. And that's a brilliant question. In fact, I struggle a lot in that. The more you get your hands dirty with the data, right, you will be able to ask those questions yourself. I would suggest a book which you can definitely read. It's Pyramid Principles. Pyramid Principles will help you ask questions, write questions, and then build on the framework. And Pyramid Principles will help you develop the mindset to do EDA, because EDA also deals with a lot of business knowledge, and business knowledge doesn't come in the first go. You start somewhere, you ask the first question, and then you break that question into different hierarchical steps, and then you try to answer question to all of those individual questions, and then you build on the tree, right? So that's the approach. Definitely read the Pyramid Principles book. It's gonna help you. Yeah, it's by Barbara Minto. Absolutely. Yeah. Please mention your Gmail. Okay. Yeah, I think I have mentioned to everyone. It's utkarshcgupta@gmail.com. I'll type it again. Are there any further questions? Cool, Narendra, do you want to take it over?
Manjul will take the session over. Yeah. Hi,
Oh.
Manjul.
Should I move to the slide over here?
Manjul will take
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll
Utkarsh,
stop.
yeah.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time, Utkarsh. It was a pretty informative session for all of us. And after going through this particular session, one thing is pretty relevant, that there are multiple opportunities in this field of data domain, and all you need is the right kind of skill sets, right? I could see a lot of learners, they have this fear that what if I have a non-technical background, or what if I, have a gap year. As Utkarsh also said, he's working in that particular domain, and he's saying it, very openly, that gap year is not something that matters a lot. But well, when we have opportunities in our hand, it's important to also have certain guidance from industry experts like Utkarsh, and also need to have a platform where you could get the transition from an earner to the earner part, right? So thank you so much, Utkarsh. I will be taking this session ahead from here. We'll take hardly like 10 to 15 minutes to let you guys go through our platform. We'll be sharing my screen from here. And if you have any questions, just put it in that chat section or Q&A. I will be more than happy to cater them. Narendra, kindly confirm me once if my screen is visible.
Yes, Manjul, it's visible. Yeah.
Perfect. So, there are like multiple ways through which all of us can learn about this data thing, right? There are multiple resources, there are multiple books that are available in the market from where you can grasp the basic understanding of this data field. But there is something that you need to understand, that if you are planning to do something other than just learning about that particular thing, it's also important that you should have a right set of people who can guide you through this, who can mentor you this, and also who can give you an insight about how this industry is working, right? That is why Alma Better is a platform where we believe in formation of community. We believe in peer-to-peer network learning, right? Because I have this belief that every particular topic or every particular problem has like multiple solutions. The more solutions you have, it means that you have understood that particular concept in a better way, right? So here at Alma Better, what we do is that we always believe in studying in groups, right? We believe in doing projects in team, because let us assume that you have a problem statement with you, right? So there will be like 5 minds or maybe 8 minds working together on the very same problem statement, and they will come up with some different ideas, and then that itself will enhance your thinking skill, because every particular person will have their own perspective towards that problem statement, and that will overall help you in understanding the topic or the problem very well. And obviously, once you're doing all these stuffs, you're also getting prepared for the jobs part. Now, many of the learners have this thing in your mind that why I should go ahead with Alma Better. What is the reason behind going ahead with Alma Better? So first and foremost thing that whatever topics we do have, they are pretty much relevant to the current industry curriculum, right? We do not teach you anything extra. We do not teach you anything less. It's like this, these are the topics that are currently being in picture in the industry, and we are going to teach you that, right? Best part is that you need not to have any coding experience behind you. All right. If you have this thing in your mind that I'm not pretty strong when it comes to the programming part or the coding part, or I have been from completely non-tech background, need not to worry. We will teach you all the things from basic only. Even if you don't know about what Python is, we will also elaborate you that what Python is, why it is being used, and also the relevant tools that are being used will be taught to you from basic level. So you need not to worry whether I have any prerequisite about the topics that are being taught here. Second, just like Utkarsh took a class today, he was pretty interactive, he was taking questions, he was trying to brief each and every topic in much more simpler way as possible. In the very same way, we have like live classes, right? And even if you miss those live classes, you have the recorded ones as well. All these live classes, they are being taken by the people who are already working in this industry, right? Because we believe the ones who are working in this industry will give you much more better insight as compared to any of the professors that are out there, because these working professionals are using all these tools in their day-to-day life, and that will definitely help you all. No, now once you're pretty much ready with the topic wala part, it's time for practice. Programming is more like mathematics, or you can say English. The more you will practice it, the more you will become better in it. That is why we have like 1,000+ coding problems and assessments. And other than that, we have like 20+ capstone projects, because projects are pretty important. Projects are the problem statements where you are using whatever you have learned in your previous topics to get a solution, and that itself enhances your in-depth in that particular topic. We have like daily doubt resolution sessions, so even if you're watching any of the recorded lectures, we have a team, a dedicated team of subject matter experts who will be solving your doubts on a regular basis, right? The timings will be 10:30 a.m. in the morning till 7:30 p.m. in the evening. And along with that, you will also be getting mentorship sessions from the industry experts only. So you will get more insights about how things are going on. Let's assume that we do have Utkarsh also with us. So if you want to book a session with Utkarsh, you can do that as well. You have to book that session a week prior so that we can check the availability of Utkarsh or the other instructors that we have here at Alma Better. Now, once your learning part is done, so basically this is a 6 months of program. So initially for these 6 months, we will help you understanding the topic, will give you a lot of coding problems and assessments, will also give you projects. And again, with mentorship sessions and the daily doubt resolution and multiple activities that are happening around, we will get into the placement part, where we will start with the mock interviews, resume building, a lot of business communication classes will be happening, and we will ensure that you are getting molded for the interviews as well. We just can't directly send you to any of the companies for the interviews. So you will have a dedicated career coach with you, right, who will keep on preparing you for the multiple interviews. And again, now since you have done all these stuffs, and with 700 plus hiring partners that we have, we do assure that you're getting 100% job guarantee from our end, right? These are some of the activities that happens here at Alma Better. I've already discussed this. We have like live lectures, then we have projects, assignments, group discussion, which is very important. Then we have community participation, guest lectures, one-on-one mentorship sessions. We have capstone projects, and we do have competency challenges as well. These are some of the companies that are with us: Amazon, Uber, Vedantu, Myntra, Grow, Accenture, Tech Mahindra, PwC. The best part is that these 700 plus companies that we have here, they ranges from service-based companies to product-based companies to a lot of new startups that we have in the market. Data is something that has its importance in each and every sector, right? Whether it's an edtech sector, whether it's an e-commerce sector, whether it is IT services, banking, finance, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, you will find out that data has its role in each and every domain, right? So you need not to worry about should I only be getting into the IT zone? No, even if you're working in any of the banking companies, you might get into HSBC, which is one of our hiring partners. If you're working in any of the IT firms, you might get into Cognizant or Capgemini. If you're working in any of the consultancy firms and you're trying to get a switch, you might end up getting into PwC. That is a very big consultancy firm that we have here, right? So data has its use in each and every sector. You just need to ensure that you have the right kind of skill set, and we will be helping you in getting that right kind of skill sets. Now, this is very interesting. This is the salary distribution of all the Alma Better graduates who have passed from our end, right? So we do promise that post the completion of 6 months, we ensure you a placement guarantee of 5 lakhs per annum or above that. There are like 19% of the students that fall into the category of 5 to 7 lakhs per annum, right? Which we promise basically to most of the learners. But what is more encouraging is that there are like 29% of the learners, they do end up getting a package of 7 to 8 lakhs per annum, which in itself is a very, very positive sign. If you're getting a package of 7 to 8 lakhs per annum, that means your initial salary is something around 60 to 65,000 rupees, which is very good when you come into the IT field. And if you're a fresher, if you have recently graduated from our end. Now, even more motivating is this number of 8 to 9 lakhs per annum. Like 37% of the students do fall in this category, where they get a salary package that is ranging in between 8 to 9 lakhs per annum. So this particular category actually reflects that how much opportunity this data domain holds for all of us. 37 is a very huge number. That means that out of every 3 students, one of them, they're getting placed at a package of 8 to 9 lakhs per annum. Now, there is a chunk of audience, basically 15% of the audience, who do end up also getting a starting package of more than 9 lakhs per annum. That means that if you're working hard, if you're disciplined, if you're dedicated toward this course, you might end up getting, a lakh rupees per month also after graduating from here. You only need right kind of skill sets, proper guidance, correct curriculum, and good practice. These things will definitely help you landing the job for which you have aimed for, right? So again, this 37% and then more than 9 lakhs per annum, like 15% of the students, they do encourage us also that we should push you for more higher packages. We guarantee you 5 lakhs per annum, but if you could see the trend, you will figure out that, almost like more than 50% of our learners, they do get a package of more than 8 lakhs per annum. Some of our instructors and mentors that we have, people from BCG, Walmart, Accenture, and many other, multinational companies, and even some of them from the MANG companies, they are part of our team, right? So you do get that kind of exposure when you are getting taught by these instructors. They're already working in this field. They have heavy number of experience. All our instructors that we have here at Alma Better, they have a minimum experience of 5 years in this data field. That itself gives you a very good exposure in this particular field. Just like Neeraj Sharma, who is working with Microsoft, it's a very big company. Jyotirmay, working with Apple again. Now, these kind of people will definitely give you a lot of insights about how things are going on in their industry, right? That is why we believe in this culture of instructors, so that whatever you are learning, you do get more in-depth analysis of that from these instructors who are already working in this industry. They will give you more better idea that, okay, this particular tool is being used. This is the basic drawback of any of the tools that you would be using. So you need to learn this thing as well. So a lot of things will be taught to you via these instructors. And you can also sit with them for 1:1 mentorship sessions. They will also guide you if you're facing difficulty in, doing any of the projects, or if you're facing any difficulty in understanding any of the topic of it, or if you want to learn more about that particular topic, you can definitely book a mentorship session for you, and they will definitely help you. Is this instructors and the mentors part. Some of the success stories, like we always want to see people who have succeeded from the institute. So we have like a bunch of learners, or you can say pool of learners, who got a transition from one domain to another domain. They were from some different field and they got into some different field as well, right? So I also recommend all of you that you should go to the website of Alma Mater. I will be pinging the link out here, and you can just go through the placements that we have given. Some of them are from tech domain, a lot of them are from non-tech domain, and most of them were not pretty comfortable when it comes to the programming part, or even the statistics or the mathematics part. But now they have got that transition just because they got the right kind of curriculum, and they got the right set of people who can guide them in this particular journey. All right. Do we have any questions from here? Will be more than happy to. Okay, so Saket has one question here, that I'm a mechanical engineer, graduate, pass out in 2017, and I want transition. Can I join this course? Moreover, gap will matter or not? Obviously, Saket, you can. As already being discussed by Utkarsh as well, gap is not something that matters a lot. Right. So it doesn't matter from which background you're coming in, whether it's a mechanical background or is it a non-tech background. You just need to have right kind of skill sets. And if you have that, obviously you will get the transition for which you have applied here at Alma Mater. Right. Cool. We'll give you guys a quick walkthrough of our dashboard, and then we will cater to the questions part. So this is how the website looks like for Alma Mater. We have recently collaborated with IIT Guwahati as well. It is one of the most prestigious colleges that we have in our country for the engineering students. So we have recently tied up with them as well. So there are a few things that we need to understand. That again, it's a 6 months of program. We do have both the certifications. You can do it from Alma Mater as well. You can do it from IIT Guwahati as well. And we have revised few of our curriculum, and we have also added few of the AI tools in this as well in our curriculum. Again, it's been mentioned over our website only that there is no prior coding experience that is required in this particular domain. Right. So if you're trying to get into the data domain, you need not to worry about whether you have any coding experience behind you or not. Again, it is suitable for all those who are currently in your final years, because you need to be a graduate if you're trying to enroll for any of the jobs that are available in the market. So it is suitable for all the final year students, graduates, and also for the ones who have recently started their work, right? They're early professionals. They just started their working and they want to get a transition here. We have like 700 plus hiring partners, and we have an average salary that is 8 lakhs per annum. I already showed you that range of 8 to 9, where there were like 37% of the students were getting placed. 25 lakhs per annum is the highest salary. So if you're working hard, if you are following things in a very right way, if you're dedicated, if you're determined, definitely you will be able to achieve this number as well. And this is just a limit, I would say. If you're giving your time, you might end up getting even more than that. The opportunities are that much. We have instructors who are from top tech companies, MNCs, also from the MAN companies as well. So this was the transition that I was talking about. Like Pradhan is one of our students who got transition from fresher to a data analyst. Then we have Soumyajit Das, who got a transition from fresher to business analyst. Then we have Soumya Jan. She was in data only, but got a promotion out here. Aniket, again, he was a fresher. I think he was from a non-tech background only, got into data scientist. Ankit Raj, again, he was from a non-tech domain. He was a business developer, and then he got into data scientist. Again, Arvind Kale, he was a fresher from mechanical engineering, again, a non-tech background, got into data engineering. Syed Adnan, he did BSc. Again, it's something which is not related to coding. Fresher got into business data analyst. So there are like, again, Saubhagya Verma. He was in marketing team, completely different field, but he got into the analytics field as well. So opportunities are there. It's about how much hard work you're putting in and how much dedication you're showing it here. So topics that we will gonna teach you, we will start with the computer programming part, where we will be teaching you about the Python part. Then we will get into the numerical programming, that is part of Python. Then we will learn about the relational database. We'll get into the data visualization tools, where you will learn about Excel, Power BI, Tableau, SQL. Then we will learn a bit about statistics and the mathematics part, and then we will get into the machine learning part as well, right? And if you see in each of the topics, we are also using Chat GPT, which is an AI tool, right? So we are trying to make you smart by ensuring that you are pretty much getting good with these AI tools, because right now in market there are like multiple AI tools that are available, right? The problem is we're not pretty sure how to use them in the right way, because they require a lot of promptness. So with every topic we will be teaching you these AI tools as well. So this is how the certification from Alma Better looks like. If you go for the IIT part, it will be mentioned here in Institute of Technology Guwahati, that will be backed by Government of India, that is Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And this is how the normal certification of Alma Better looks like. You will get a certification from us, that is Alma Better only. So you can do it, you can do your program in both the ways. You can go for IIT Guwahati as well, and you can also go for Alma Better certification as well. Again, 100% job assurance that we give to our learners. Because of the 700 plus hiring partners that we have, we do ensure that you are getting the transition for which you have applied. These are few of the things that we basically cater in Almax curriculum. Business communication, it is very important. Most of us, we do find difficulty when it comes to the English language part. So what we do is that we do start with the business communication classes, so that you get a good control over that as well. Then we have grammar, tenses, adjectives, and verbs. And we also tell you about email writing as well, right? So this is pretty much important about the email writing part that I have told you. Then we also help you in the resume building part as well. We also help you with the interviews, mock interviews. There is no such cap limit to it. You can keep on giving your interviews till the time you're getting placed, because it's important to get that placement in the right way that is possible. And again, most of the times we do stop practicing coding once we complete our course, which is not the right way of doing it. You need to keep on practicing as well, whether it's a coding thing or the technical revision part. And we do ensure that you're getting the right set of questions to practice these things as well. Again, the companies that I talked about, Myntra, Swiggy, Zomato, we have already discussed this, lot of MNCs and new startups that we have. We also discussed about the instructors and the mentors part. So this is what Alma Better is all about, right? There are like multiple questions that are being asked from the learners, that what if I miss a class? So you will have your classes from 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. in the evening time. Even if you miss the class, you will have the recorded part of it. Second questions comes up most of the times from learners is that what if I'm not able to manage my job or schedule with class timings? Well, we do have recorded lectures. We do have the daily doubt resolution session, the live support. Let me just show you that as well, how it works like basically. So I'm already an enrolled learner here. So this is how it works like. This is how it looks. So if you want to get yourself, your doubt clear, you can directly go to live support. It's there at the bottommost right. You will get here and you can join any of the tables, and you can resolve your doubt. Like this particular table is full because some of our subject matter expert is solving doubt of one of our learners. Same goes for here. Again, table is full because obviously our subject matter expert is trying to answer the question, and you can ensure that our subject matter expert is solving that particular doubt in real time. They can even join you via video call and help you understanding that particular topic. So even if you're watching any of the recorded lectures, you will definitely get that assistance from us. There is one more very new thing that we have recently added, and that is the AI chat thing. So what happens here is that Most of the times when we are pretty new to the coding part or any of the part that we are learning, we do want a kind of guide, you could say, which can help us getting the solutions at that point of time only. So let us assume that you are writing any of the products. So I will just prompt here that write a Python program for dividing two numbers. If you just write this and enter this, you will get a proper code for this. So if you're a beginner, you can ask your doubt here, and this will go for each and every topic. So even if you have any problem that you're finding it difficult to answer, you can directly prompt it here, you can raise it here, and you can get the solution here only, right? So you don't have to do anything. You just give a problem statement here, and this AI tool give you a solution for this. That is the the programming part. Again, helps you a lot, right? So this was this when it comes to the walkthrough part. Do we have any questions in the chat section? Okay, all those learners who are here, just do fill the feedback form that's being pinned in the chat section. It helps us to improve, right? There is a possibility, Vikram, right? We don't guarantee you that, because again, it depends upon the vacancies that our hiring partners have. But obviously, there is a high chance that you might end up getting this as well. Were there any questions? I can't see many. Regarding the admission part, I will be more than happy to give you a clarity about how it works here at Alma Better. So we're starting our next batch from this upcoming Tuesday for data science, machine learning, and AI. And if you guys are interested for that, you can directly go to the website and get yourself enrolled for this particular program. I don't see a lot of questions coming up. So Narendra, I believe we can wrap this session up. If you have anything that you want to add, do we provide placement after completion? I already answered this as that there is a possibility that you might end up getting it, but we don't guarantee it, because again, remote jobs is something that completely depends upon the hiring partner that we have. If they have the vacancies, definitely you will. If they don't, obviously we can't guarantee you that. All right, all those who are looking forward to get yourself enrolled in this particular course, you might end up getting a 15% off on our tuition fees. That is 30,000 rupees. You can just use the coupon code LEARN15 and get yourself enrolled directly from the website, right? So the coupon code has been mentioned in the chat section. You guys can use this and can start your learning with us here at Alma Better. This batch is starting from 26th, right? If you have any queries, you can directly visit our website. You can dial our counselors, you can mail us. We will be more than happy to help you out. Yes, as I said, it remains full. If you're getting any work from home job, it will remain the same as it is for anyone who's going to office or who is in regular mode of working. So yeah, it will remain the same if you get one of the remote jobs. Guys, just fill out the feedback form. It's there in this chat section. Also, do use this coupon code. It will be valid for like next 24 hours. Yeah, it is. It is SC Gupta. I already showed you how it is being done. You just need to give a clear prompt, a correct prompt, and you will get that particular program from ChatGPT. A tool is already inbuilt once you enroll. Learn15 is the coupon code that you can use SC Gupta to get the discount that you're looking forward for. 15% discount you will get over the courses that are there. No, there's no such criteria. It completely depends upon the availability of our hiring partners. If they have those remote jobs available with them, you will end up getting it. Kiran, most of the times we do give these coupon codes to people who have, gone through these master classes. So we do have certain offers in every master class. This time around, it's for the coding part, for the discounting part that we're giving for 15%. So if you are actively going through our master classes, you will find out that we do have certain offers in every of the master class. Not really, S.C. Gupta. We will help you in that. The basic difference between IIT Guwahati and normal Alma-Mater module is that when you are learning with IIT Guwahati, you get a certification from them as well, right? And also, since this entire campaign is backed by Government of India, you get a certification of Government of India as well in your certificate. Second, you get guest lectures from IIT faculty members. Per month, you get like 1 to 2 lectures from them, right? And again, by the time you're completing this particular program, you can also visit to campus of IIT Guwahati at your very own cost, and no one will question you that from whose permission you have entered into this particular IIT Guwahati campus, because obviously you are a part of this particular program that is directly linked with IIT Guwahati. I hope I have answered your question, Esir, about the IIT Guwahati and the normal certification part. I think I've already answered this. Okay. Cool. Narendra, you can drop down the coupon code once again, and I believe we can wrap up this session as I can't see a lot of questions coming up. If you have any of the questions with you, already told you can visit the website, dial us, mail us. Our counselors will help you in getting more clarity about this particular program. No, not really. Not really. We do ensure that whatever we have promised to you, you're getting it either from the IIT Guwahati certification or from Alma-Mater as well. Thank you so much for your time, Utkarsh, Narendra, and every learner who recently, got here. I would also request all of you, all the learners here, that if you have any of your friends, relatives who are trying to get into this data domain, do get them in this master classes. They will get a basic fundamental understanding about how things are going on here. Narendra, if you have anything to add, you can, else we can wrap this up from my end. Over to you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining today's masterclass. I hope you all enjoyed today's session. So if you have any doubts, you can reach out to us through our website. There you can find our email address. Through that, you can reach out to us, admissions@almamater.com. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thank you, Kush. Thank you, Manjit.
Thanks, team. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.